Hey guys, how's it going? It's Luke bringing you guys a quick live stream for Friday's showdown for the Fortinet Championships. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the course, how it's changed throughout the week, what we got wrong before the week, and what we expect going forward this weekend, as well as some of my favorites for tomorrow's single round slate. So, going over how the course has changed. It's changed quite a bit throughout the week. So, going into the week, we expected plotters to be playing well here, to be a little bit less of a distance affair, as well as it be a relatively high birdie or better percentage event. So while we weren't wrong about any of those things, it's definitely going to be one of the, let's say, lower scoring affairs at the Fortinet Championship we've seen in quite some time. The fairways are definitely a little bit different than what we expected. So we're finding very firm fairways here at the Fortinet Championship at Silverado. We're also finding that the greens are relatively firm as well. And we ended up getting a little bit of information this week as to why that's the case. And that has to do with the overseeding on property. They haven't overseeded the fairways, haven't added that bent grass into it. And on the greens as well, they've decided not to do that this year. So as a result, they're drying out a little bit faster than usual. They're holding a little bit less water than usual as well. So as a result, the scores are a little bit higher. I mean, the best score today was 7 under. Ches Reavie absolutely went out there and destroyed the golf course. But here in the second half of the day, especially in the afternoon wave, we've seen that really hit at home. So what I'm going to do here is share my screen. I'm going to show you guys some data from Data Golf. So Data Golf is a company that does a lot of analytics with golf, specifically live metrics. And here you guys can see the morning average was 1.42 strokes under par. So just over 70.58 right there. But here in the afternoon wave, you can see the score is just 0.49 under par. So at 71.51, there's almost a full stroke difference between the morning and afternoon wave, showing just how much this course has dried out. So not only is this going to impact play tomorrow, I expect there to be a very similar split between the morning and afternoon wave. I expect scores tomorrow in general to be quite a bit higher. So overnight, obviously, we expect some dew to be on the ground. There's going to be a little bit of moisture inserted into the course, but with even more time to dry out, they're not watering them with sprinklers or anything like that. This course could get out of hand very fast. You know, if it's already dried up and already taken a stroke off of the scores in just 4 or 5 hours on the golf course, God knows what's going to happen throughout this entire week. So I think it makes this golf course a little bit harder. Obviously, the shorter hitters are going to get even more benefit off the tee. Balls in the fairways this week were rolling out an extra 40, even 50 yards at times. So people like Kevin Na, people like Brandt Snedeker, that are relatively short off the tee aren't going to have as much of a problem this time around. What I also want to go over in terms of the golf course and the differences, a little bit with the pin placement. So the PGA Tour seems to be treating this event a little bit differently. In the past, had put pin locations towards the center of these greens, had made them a little bit more scoreable than the average tour event, which makes a lot of sense. You know, this is always the first event in the season, or if it's not the first event, it's one of the first few in the season. The PGA Tour in the past has decided to kind of ease people into play, you know, kind of getting them geared up, not making it overly difficult or anything like that. But since we only had 1 week off since the Tour Championship, it looks like they've thrown that out the window. They're expecting guys to be in form. I mean, a lot of these Corn Ferry Tour guys were playing just a few weeks ago, that sort of thing. So not necessarily surprising that they've changed their MO this time around. But again, I expect the course to play a little bit harder than what we've seen in the past. That has played out to this point. And some of the short hitters play well. So with that being said, let's hop into the player poll for tomorrow. And some of the guys we'll be targeting in terms of our Friday showdown picks. And right off the bat, if you guys take a look at this pricing, you should see that it's a little bit wonky this time around. They've condensed a lot of the upper tier of the board. There's a lot of guys priced up that don't even necessarily make sense. They put out this pricing before the afternoon wave went out. And a lot of these afternoon wave guys are really priced up, which didn't really make sense at first, but now that we look at that morning afternoon wave split, it makes a whole lot of sense. And whoever did it for DraftKings, very smart on their part. They did a very good job at this pricing. So we can see some of the guys in the afternoon wave, like Steven Yeager, extremely priced up. We can go up here, Harold Varner III, priced up quite a bit. Guys like Hideki Matsuyama is actually down priced, so that could be someone to go to. But guys like Zalatoris, you know, they're higher priced than we would have expected. You know, John Rahm coming into the week on the normal slate was $12,000, got quite a big of a discount. Somebody like Zalatoris only got a $300 discount. So from the main slate to this slate, kind of surprising to be honest with you. So hats off to DraftKings there. They did a really good job with their scoring and stuff like that. But we're still going to be targeting these morning guys. Clearly, the golf course is quite a bit softer. We saw a 1-stroke difference between the morning and afternoon wave today. In terms of DFS, and especially on Showdown, that is massive. I mean, you guys have probably seen that in the past. You guys aren't new to Showdown, so you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about some of the other glaring prices. Cameron Champ, massive price decrease. I was off of him before the week, thought that he was a clear fade, still is a fade for me. Guys like Doug Gimmer, relatively priced up. Chad Ramey got nearly $1,000 price increase. Amita Prayer is right where he was before. Moore is even more expensive. Ches Reavie got a price decrease after shooting 7 under in the first half of the day. So that's what I mean about Showdown, guys. It's a little bit wonky with the pricing. There's a lot to take advantage of. But specifically what we're going to do now is we're going to go pick by pick, kind of identify my best plays on the slate. So for me tomorrow, I'm targeting guys that are playing in the morning. So my stud up top that I'm targeting for morning play is definitely going to be Will Zalatoris. We obviously don't know how he's played here in the afternoon. He's still on the golf course right now, but his ball striking looks just like himself. He's going out there, gaining a ton of strokes off the tee, has been relatively good with his iron play as well. It's currently -1, so, not going out there and making a ton of hay on the golf course, but with some softer conditions, I think he'll be able to take advantage of it, especially if he gets a few putts to fall. So I don't hate going there. Hideki Matsuyama didn't really look great, especially at the Tour Championship, so I'm a little bit hesitant to go there. We see he's obviously -2 right now, so not playing horribly on the golf course. I also like the price tag at $9,800, but anytime you have a guy go from the 10K range down to the 9K range, it could even be a drop just from $10,000 to $9,900. It creates such a psychological change in people's minds. In that 10K range, quote unquote, those are always the elite tier golfers. And the 9K guys are kind of always your second man in. So for him to be dropped, from that 10K just to the high 9K range, he's going to be relatively chalky tomorrow. So that's one of the reasons I don't necessarily love him, but is going to be playing in the morning. So definitely somebody I'll at least consider for that reason alone. I'm going down here to Charlie Hoffman. Charlie Hoffman got a relatively big price increase. Again, a lot of that's because he's playing in the morning tomorrow, but somebody who was in great form there in 2020, one of the sneakily best seasons on tour, almost even got into the Tour Championship. So at -1, I don't hate him either. Just a little bit more expensive than my liking, but will likely come in a little bit lower owned as a result. Another guy I really like, let's see down here, Doug Gim. So Doug Gim, absolutely a magical putter on bent POA. Today was right about neutral in terms of his putting, which for bent POA is actually a little bit below his baseline. But if you guys know anything about Doug Gim, typically a loser on the greens, one of the worst putters on tour. So for him to show that familiarity in round one was definitely a little bit comforting. I mean, obviously, we can expect that going forward, and one of the best ball strikers on the planet. So always going to be good in a showdown format. He's capable of shooting 6 or 7 under pretty much any day. It's just going to be riding on that putter. And in showdown formats where you're trying to get that volatility, those are the guys that you're looking for. Max Houma. So Max Houma priced right below him. I'd actually like him a little bit more than Gim in this situation. Anytime you get him on the West Coast, I don't know what it is with Max Houma, but it's like a switch goes on, right? They were showing him on PGA Tour Live today. I got to see his entire round this morning. So he's going to be somebody teeing it off in the afternoon, which I don't necessarily love. Same thing with Doug Gim up there. But Houma, when he's putting on these Poa Nua greens, it's unbelievable. They were showing John Rahm putting. He was having the ball bouncing quite a bit. It was frustrating the crap out of him. And a lot of that has to do with the Poa Nua. It's a bumpy surface. If you don't hit the ball perfect, it's going to bounce. Whereas Max Houma today, every single putt that he hit was rolling perfectly. I mean, end over end, absolutely textbook. And that's just the familiarity in action, right? You can see he grew up on that surface. He's used to rolling the rock on that surface. Whereas somebody like John Rahm has no familiarity, has a lot of problems with the surface. And it really shows up on these surfaces a little bit more than most. Ted Ramey, I'm avoiding him. Why the hell is he $8,200? Like Christ, he's even par right now. He's not even having a very good round right now. Same thing with Taylor Pendrith. It's like, why the hell is he $8,100, guys? The whole showdown slate thing is I don't understand their pricing algorithm. I mean, they price guys up like Chad Ramey and Taylor Pendrith to ridiculous price tags. And then you go up here and they make very smart moves, pricing up Harold Varner III, pricing up somebody like Charlie Hoffman. I don't understand. Like they're so good with some things, they're so bad with some other price tags. I'm getting down to the 7K range. Some of the value plays that I'm looking at. When we start to get down to the 7K, 6K range, I'm especially going to be targeting guys in the morning wave. These guys have a little bit less talent level in terms of like just overall general talent. I think that's pretty obvious when you start getting down on the price board here. But even more so importantly, you're looking for guys to have ceiling performances. And with these guys that are a little bit more value plays, any little edge that you can get in terms of the morning afternoon wave split is going to be helpful. So some of the guys that are teeing it up in the morning tomorrow, number one's going to be David Lipsky down here. He's at $7,600. You could potentially go there. Let's see who else. Often Barnrat's going to be teeing it off in the morning tomorrow. Same thing with Adam Schenk. Same thing with Davis Riley. Same thing with Roger Sloan. Same thing with CT Pan. Figala will be teeing it up in the morning. Brendan Steele will be teeing it up in the morning. And just from the names that I mentioned, Brendan Steele is definitely the one that sticks out the most. Brendan Steele's won this event twice. He's playing extremely well right now. He's -2, one of the shorter hitters on tour. But because these fairways are so fiery this week, because you're getting 40 to 50 yards of extra rollout, Brendan Steele's pretty much on average distance for tour right now. He's getting all that extra rollout, very precise as well. Hits over 70% of fairways, one of the only players on tour to be able to do so. So not only has a lot of good vibes here, he's playing pretty well right now. He's also going to be teeing it up in the morning. I mean, I'm talking myself into quite a bit of Brendan Steele for tomorrow. Getting down to some of these other guys might want to target. Brendan Wu and Buckley will both be teeing it up tomorrow morning. This is their first ever PGA start, each of them, and very even par right now. So obviously playing pretty well. I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into their stats when they finish up tonight. But we'll be teeing it up in the morning, which is great to see. Troy Merritt is killing it right now. He's at -3. He will also be teeing off early on in the morning. So at $6,900, I don't hate that. Doc Redman, same story right there. Same price, will also be in the morning wave. Ryan Moore will also be in the morning wave. Doesn't look great right now. So not necessarily sure I'd go to Ryan Moore. Somebody who was coming in with really good form, was also a really good course fit. So for him to be struggling here in round one, I mean, it's just one round, right? Anything can happen, but a little bit surprising to me. I expected a little bit more from him. Let's talk about some other targets, especially down here in the 6K range. JT Poston will be teeing off in the morning, but he's, +3 today. So I'm not necessarily sure if you want to go there. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to talk about John Augustine, guys. So if you guys were in my Discord chat, you guys saw me pointing out a lot of the new Korn Ferry Tour guys, some guys that were really having good days, people that were statistically standouts. And one major standout was Augustine. He's number one in the field in shots gained tee to green, and he gained over 3 strokes on approach today. We don't see that very often, right? I mean, when you're gaining 3 strokes approaching around, that means you're sticking it to 5 feet on pretty much every shot. So for him to be $6,700, he's going to be somebody teeing it up in the afternoon, unfortunately, but I definitely think he's worth a few shots given that price tag right there, especially if he can continue that momentum. I mean, then he would be a slam dunk play. Another few guys that are going to be teeing it off in the afternoon that I actually like. Leviota, I don't know why he got a price decrease to $6,600. At one point today, he was -5. He was tied for the lead. Had a few blow-up holes towards the end of the day, but was striking the ball very well. Is a very good putter, and for the last month or even last 2 months of the season was one of the best players on tour, period. Was constantly in the top 5 of shots gained total over that stretch. So again, the algorithm in terms of pricing for DraftKings is just a little bit wonky in my opinion. You want to take advantage of situations like that. So even if he's playing in the afternoon, I'm going to be targeting him, to be honest with you. I'm getting on to a few other options here. Bo Hostler is going to be playing in the morning. Somebody who's very good on the West Coast. You can see right now he's -1, so not having a great day or anything like that. But he's only $6,500. He's a great putter. If he's able to put the ball striking together, he could go shoot 6 or 7 under par very easily on a track like this. Let's get down. Let's take a few more looks at some guys. Matthew Neesmith is playing right now. One of the more established tour pros, especially for the guys priced in the $6,000 range here. Just is off to a little bit of a rough start, right? Some of the guys here in the afternoon wave are getting hit a little bit harder than the guys in the morning. So perhaps if he has some soft greens tomorrow morning, he can get a few putts to the drop. Matthew Neesmith could be a really good target in that range. Curtis Thompson. So Curtis Thompson, when you take a look at his shots gained tee to green numbers today, fantastic. Just not by a putt. So Curtis Thompson could be somebody to take a look at. Kurt Kitayama, avoid at all costs. It was his first ever PGA Tour start. I expected a lot from him, but swing isn't there. He was hitting the ball beautifully off the tee. I believe he's top 10 in shots gained off the tee. Wasn't even that much of a negative putter, but as soon as you put him around 100 to 125 yards from the pin, he was missing every green by about 20 yards short, which you would think he would adjust at some point, but he did it about 7 or 8 times today. That it's just weird that they don't make adjustments like that, right? Especially when you're consistently hitting about 20, 30 yards short. You just club up, right? I could say that as an amateur golfer, right? Just club up, but maybe it's not easy for somebody as dialed in as somebody like him. Jim Herman, somebody I want to mention. So didn't necessarily have a great day today. He's even par right now, but he's only $6,200 and he tears apart these short tracks, right? We saw it at the Wyndham Championship. He was able to take down a win. Has a top 5 at the Wyndham before that. Has also done well at courses like the Charles Schwab Challenge. So at $6,200, he's one of the tour pros priced down here. And I definitely like getting to a bit tomorrow. Let's see if there's anyone at the min price tag we can play. Chase Seifert could be someone at $6,100. Again, a shorter hitter on tour, but you're getting a lot of bonus in terms of yardage this week. He's also one of the better putters on tour. So at $6,100, you could do a lot worse than somebody like him. Let's go the whole way down to the minimum price, though. Let's see. Chris Stroud. Somebody mentioned him to me earlier on the chat this week. I did a little bit of a deep dive into him. Is good on bent POA, so you like to see that. Also a Korn Ferry Tour graduate, so a little bit sneaky. So potentially could go there. But really, that's it. A lot of these guys on here, I mean, you could go David Hearn, right? I mean, he's at least a PGA Tour pro that we see week in and week out. But none of those games scream sexy to me, right? I don't really want to be playing any of those guys. Let's go ahead and add a few guys from the top. Again, a lot of the guys I mentioned at first are playing in the morning tomorrow, but you're still going to be targeting some of the guys that have good prices for the afternoon wave. A few that stand out. Cameron Tringale got a price decrease after shooting 6 under par. He was in my core plays video. Again, somebody who's very accurate off the tee. He's very good with their irons and very good on the bent POA surface. So went out, played exactly how I expected him to today. Didn't try to overpower the golf course. Didn't try to be too aggressive either. So the fact that he started so well, he's going to be able to continue that. I don't want to say it's passive play. It's definitely not aggressive play. I'd say smart play. He can continue playing a good game plan there. In terms of an AK range, some guys I'd be willing to target, especially in the afternoon wave. I already mentioned Doug Gim and Max Houma there. Again, they're just very good talent levels, both very familiar on the West Coast. So just because they're playing in the afternoon, you don't want to avoid them too much. Down here in the high 7K ranges, somebody like Pan Kazire, who'll also be playing in the morning. He's a little bit volatile, right? So anytime you're playing Showdown, you want to be targeting guys like that. He's usually doing it on Sundays, though. He has this knack for every Sunday going out, shooting like 7 or 8 under par, backdooring a top 5, that sort of thing. And in Showdown, especially on Sunday, where you get the finishing position points as well, he puts up some massive, massive scores at really low price tags as well. So perhaps save him for Sunday, but could have that ceiling performance tomorrow, right? It's not like his game waits for Sunday to get better. So just keep that in mind. You might want to play him tomorrow. Don't have to wait till Sunday. A couple other guys I'd be willing to target in this range. Taylor Gooch got a price decrease, yet he had a very good day today. Ended with an eagle. Very precise player. Also very good with his irons. Kind of fits that Doug Gim role as well. Let's see, any other options that are playing in the afternoon? Nick Hardy. So Nick Hardy did get the price increase, but if you guys were in my Discord chat, you guys probably saw me going crazy about Nick Hardy today. I mean, was very good from tee to green, couldn't buy a putt, but still ended up shooting a very good score. Again, was at -4 at one point, was in the top 5, ended up faltering down the stretch a little bit, but I really like those ball striking numbers. And he was one of the higher touted prospects coming out of that Korn Ferry Tour class. So not necessarily surprising to see him go out and doing what he did. I want to find, where's Dewey? Where's he at? He was my favorite play going into this week, the Korn Ferry Tour guys, and I can't. Here he is. Okay, yeah. Why is Van der Walt $6,700? So Van der Walt at one point today, guys, was tied for second place. His first ever tour start on the PGA Tour was a Korn Ferry Tour promotion for this year. But coming into the PGA Tour, his numbers out of the Korn Ferry were just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, was averaging 330 yards per drive, was one of the best greens and regulation players on tour, and popped with a putter from time to time. Had a few wins to his name as well. So for him to go out today and do as well as he did was very impressive. It was something I kind of saw coming just because his advanced metrics were so good. But at $6,700, you could definitely go to Dewey. He's going to be teeing off in the afternoon. He's going to get part of that, negative in that negative in the afternoon wave and whatnot. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. But I'm all right going there. I think that's definitely all right. He's got a good price tag there. Let's see. Anyone else down here? Justin Lauer's playing really good right now. He's also a Korn Ferry Tour guy. You could go there. He's definitely going to make sure your lineup's a little bit unique. Yeah. You said his price did go up. Which player are you talking about? Dewey? But yeah, I know his price. I think if you're talking about Van der Walt, yeah, his price went up. But I would have expected it to be like 7.5K, something like that, because he had such a good round. He gained like 2 strokes putting today. So I just saw that. It's a little bit concerning. Typically you don't see guys gain like 2-3 strokes putting every single day, but was very good with the driver as well. Yeah. Agreed with you there, man. All right, so what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna make sure I can make my lineups for my Thursday night games tonight and whatnot. There's Thursday night football. If you guys aren't aware, we have the Giants and Washington team playing, so I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be pretty fun. In terms of strategy, so anytime you're in Showdown, leaving salary on the table is never a bad idea. The real idea with that is, you're not dealing with finishing position here. You're dealing with just raw score, the guys that make the most birdies, and a lot of times it's the guys further down the board, frankly, in Showdown. The optimal lineup for Showdown typically leaves about $1,500 on the table. That's the average. So I'm definitely willing to do so on this. So if you're willing to avoid all these guys up priced around like 9,600, 98, and above, you can really make a unique lineup, and you can also create a lineup with a high floor as well. So that's where I see myself going tomorrow. I'm going to start with Tringale in quite a few lineups. I really like Hoffman tomorrow, especially because he's going to be playing in that morning wave. I like living with Doug Gim, also Max Houma down here. Again, both really good course fits, and they're not going to kill you in terms of your salary. And if you do that, you're going to be able to use your last two options up here in the high 7K range. You can make an extremely balanced lineup. You could throw someone in there like Pan Kazire. I believe you'd probably have right around $7,500 for your last pick. And you could take somebody like Taylor Gooch. Actually, let's go ahead and make a lineup, right? We're here. We might as well do it, right? Let's go ahead and make this lineup. We're going to start with Tringale and Hoffman, like I mentioned. We're going to go down here and take Doug Gim and Max Houma. To me, have $7,500 a piece. So I was slightly off there. Let's go ahead and take Taylor Gooch. I like Taylor Gooch a little bit more than Patton Kazire. And that leaves us with $7,500 for our last spot. So Kierdek's going to be playing in the morning. He's a very good course fit, coming in with really good recent form. That could be an option right there. Second option could be Adam Schenk, also going to be playing in the morning. Ended the year at 2020 spectacularly, was number one in birdie or better percentage for the last 3 months. We wouldn't be leaving any salary on the table, which I don't love, right? So in this case, I'm going to take Adam Schenk, right? I'd rather leave $200 on the table. That's going to give us a higher chance of being unique. But if I'm going to be quite frank with you, I don't like how much money we spent. So actually, let's take a look further down the board, right? So I want to make something a little bit more unique. I don't love the fact that these guys all seem like options that they're not obvious, but that the really educated, really well-versed DFS people would play. So let's go ahead and make sure our lineup's unique, especially if we're going to be entering a GPP contest. So I'm okay dipping down here into the 6K range. Let's go ahead and see. So we're going to try and target somebody that's playing in the morning. So Doc Redman can be an option right there. You'd have $600 on the table right there. So that could definitely be an option. Let's see, anyone else for a morning tee time? Ryan Armour's playing in the morning, but I don't want to target him. He's not having a very good day. Augenstein's an afternoon wave. You know what? I really like this lineup. So we're going to take John Augenstein. Again, the numbers today in terms of ball striking, unbelievable. But people aren't going to go to him. Again, he's a relatively unknown commodity. And if we use John Augenstein, we also get to leave $800 on the table. I would venture to say that this lineup has like a 0% chance of being duplicated tomorrow. So this is the kind of lineup that I would be very comfortable with entering. And not only is it unique, it also gives me a lot of the options that I'm targeting, right? People that have very high floors, people I also think could go out, shoot 5 or 6 under tomorrow. Again, Tringale showed that potential today. Same thing with Max Houma. But guys like Hoffman, Gim, and Gooch, they're just great course fits in general. Didn't have horrible days. So that's the kind of lineup that I'm looking to build, guys. Unless you guys have any specific questions in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and run out of here to go ahead and make these lineups. As always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me in the Discord if you guys are on the Patreon. You can also leave a comment here on the YouTube, and I'll get to it as soon as I see it. So thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you guys for Saturday, where we're going to do another one of these live streams. So the reason why we're not doing one tomorrow on Friday is it doesn't make much sense to do it every single day for the tournament. I mean, obviously, the conditions aren't going to change that much, right? I mean, they changed quite a bit between the morning and afternoon wave today, but it's going to be relatively consistent from today to tomorrow. So not going to be a ton of changes, but the reason why we do it on Saturday is we do have the finishing position points coming in on Sunday. Adds a little bit of strategy to it, a little bit of game theory involved, making sure that you choose some guys that are going to be running up the board. So that's why we do that on Saturday night. So see you guys then.